Good morning everyone. This is class 12th, subject chemistry, chapter number 7, P block elements. In this video, I will be discussing the solution of assignment number 2. First question is write equation for preparation of oxygen from potassium chlorate, ozone and lead nitrate. And the answer is preparation of oxygen can be done by potassium chlorate in the presence of manganese dioxide. When we heat this, here we are getting potassium chloride and oxygen is formed. So next reaction is preparation of oxygen from ozone. So it can be prepared by O3 in presence of UV light. It will decompose into dioxygen. Third is from lead nitrate. So when we heat lead nitrate, it will give lead oxide, nitrogen dioxide and oxygen is formed. So these are the preparation reaction for oxygen. Next is reaction of H2O2 with acidified solution of KMnO4. So here is the reaction H2O2 MnO4 in presence of acidic medium. So it will convert to K2SO4, MnSO4, H2O and oxygen. So this H2O2 it will behave as reducing agent. So next reaction is H2O2 with aqueous HI, it will give I2 plus H2O. In this case, H2O2 it will behave as oxidizing agent, and this is the reaction of H2O2 with aqueous HI. Question number 2 is state reasons for the following statement. First is A part is statues coated with white lead on long exposure to atmosphere turns black, and original color can be restored on treatment with H2O2. Now what happens? Statues, they contain lead oxide, so when they comes in contact with H2S, so here lead sulfide is formed which is black in color. But when we treat this lead sulfide with H2O2, so it will form PbSO4, that is lead sulfate, which is again white in color. So that is why when we treat them with H2O2, here again we are getting white color. So this is the reason for first statement. Next question is presence of water is avoided in the preparation of hydrogen peroxide from sodium peroxide, and the reason is the sodium peroxide it will react with water and it will form sodium hydroxide, and this reaction is exothermic in nature and therefore it decomposes the hydrogen peroxide. That is why presence of water is avoided in the preparation of H2O2 from Na2O2. Next part is C statement is H2O2 act as an oxidizing as well as reducing agent. So this can be explained by giving the examples. Here in first example H2O2 it will act as oxidizing agent. It will oxidize the +2 oxidation state of iron to +3. And in the second reaction this H2O2 it will act as reducing agent because in this reaction the +7 oxidation state of manganese it reduces to +2. Therefore this H2O2 it will behave as reducing agent and it will reduce +7 to +2. Next statement is D. Ozone destroys mercury meniscus. And the answer for the statement is ozone being strong oxidizing agent, it will oxidize mercury to mercury oxide and therefore it loses its meniscus in contact with O3. So this is the answer for for statement number D. Next statement is a white turbidity is obtained by passing H2S in aqueous solution of SO2. Now what will happen? Aqueous solution of SO2 is H2O plus SO2, it will form H2SO3, and when this H2SO3 react with H2S, it will form water and colloidal sulfur. Because of this colloidal sulfur, we will get white turbidity when we pass H2S in aqueous solution of SO2. Next question is concentrated H2SO4 cannot be used for drying up H2S and NH3, and the answer is concentrated H2SO4 cannot be used for drying NH3 because this ammonia it will react with H2SO4 and ammonium sulfate is formed. That is why concentrated H2SO4 cannot be used for the drying of ammonia. Next is in case of hydrogen sulfide, this H2S it is a powerful reducing agent and concentrated H2SO4 has oxidizing power. So H2S it will convert to sulfur when it comes in contact with concentrated H2SO4. That is why concentrated H2SO4 cannot be used for drying up ammonia and hydrogen sulfide. Next question is, liquid oxygen sticks to the poles of magnet but liquid nitrogen does not. So this can be explained on the basis of molecular orbital theory. When we draw the molecular orbital diagram for oxygen, so in its anti-bonding orbital it has two unpaired electrons and therefore it is paramagnetic in nature. So it is attracted towards the pole of magnet. Whereas in case of N2, if we draw the molecular orbital diagram, so from that molecular orbital diagram we can, that is from the molecular orbital diagram, it does not have, that is N2 does not have any unpaired electron in its orbital. That is why liquid nitrogen, it does not stick to the pole of magnets. Next question is, SF6 is known but OF6 is not known. The answer for this is, in OF6 oxygen has small size and oxygen does not have d orbital. Therefore it cannot accommodate 6 fluorine atoms. Whereas in case of SF6 sulfur, it has larger size than oxygen and also it has vacant d orbital. That is why SF6 is known but OF6 is not. Next question is, describe the difference in structure between gaseous and solid sulfur trioxide. So here is the structure of SO3 sulfur trioxide in gaseous phase, and in solid phase it will exist in cyclic trimeric form and in linear polymeric chain. That is, in solid phase it has two structure. So this is the linear polymeric chain of sulfur trioxide and this is the cyclic structure, cyclic trimer of sulfur trioxide. So this is the difference between structure of sulfur trioxide in solid phase and in gaseous phase. Next question is, which of HNO3, that is nitric acid, and H2SO4 sulfuric acid is the stronger Bronsted acid? So among HNO3 and H2SO4, H2SO4 is the stronger Bronsted acid, as Bronsted acids are those which donate H+ ions in the solution. Next question is, how are the following gases detected? First is O2. So this O2 can be detected by splint test. So in splint test, a splint is lit, allowed to burn for a few seconds and then blown out by mouth or by shaking, and after that splint is introduced to the gas sample that has been trapped in a vessel. Now what will happen, on exposure to concentrated oxygen gas, the glowing amber flares and reignites to produce a sustained flame. And the concentrated oxygen means more will be the concentration of oxygen, the faster the wood burns and the more intense the flame. So this is the test for O2. Now next is for O3. So O3 can be detected by the titration of standard solution of sodium thiosulfate with iodine, which is liberated when we treat potassium iodide solution buffered with borate pH 9.2. So what we will do in this test, first of all we will treat O3 with potassium iodide solution buffered with borate buffer, that is whose pH is 9.2, and in this case iodine is liberated and this iodine is titrated against a standard solution of sodium thiosulfate. So by this we can detect the O3. Next is for hydrogen sulfide, lead acetate test is there. In this test what we will do, we will take a paper which is dipped in lead acetate solution, and if any amount or if any hydrogen sulfide is present, so it will turn lead acetate paper into black. This is the test for hydrogen sulfide. Now fourth is for sulfur dioxide. We can treat sulfur dioxide with potassium dichromate. Potassium dichromate is orange in color, so if there is any SO2 is present, so what it will do, it will change the color of potassium dichromate from orange to green. So this is how we can detect the presence of SO2. So this is all about question number 5. Next is choose the correct alternative. Only one choice is correct. Question number 6. Hydrolysis of 1 mole of peroxo disulfuric acid produces. So here 4 options are given. Out of these 4 options, C option is correct. This is the formula for peroxo disulfuric acid. So when we hydrolyze 1 mole of this peroxo disulfuric acid, here we are getting sulfuric acid and peroxo monosulfuric acid. So when we hydrolyze 1 mole of peroxodisulfuric acid. So here we are getting sulfuric acid, 1 mole of sulfuric acid and 1 mole of peroxomonosulfuric acid. So option C is correct. Now question number 7th is, which of the following will not be oxidized by O3? And the answer for this question is option B, that is KMnO4. Here the oxidation number of manganese is +7, that is the highest oxidation state, therefore it cannot be oxidized by O3. Now question number 8 is, sodium thiosulfate is prepared by, so 4 options are given. Out of these 4 options, option number B is correct, that is by boiling Na2SO3 solution with sulfur in alkaline medium we are getting sodium thiosulfate. This is the formula of sodium sulfide. So when we treat sodium sulfide with sulfur in alkaline medium, here we are getting Na2S2O3. So for question number 8, B option is correct. Question number 9th is, glucose on fermentation produces, so this is, here again 4 options are given and out of these 4 options, option number B is correct. That is, glucose on fermentation produces 2 moles of ethanol and 2 moles of carbon dioxide. So here carbon dioxide is given, so option number B is correct. So now next is exercise B. Here are the answers from question number 1 to 5. Next is, choose the correct alternative. Only one choice is correct. Question number 6 is, HBr and HI reduces sulfuric acid. HCl cannot reduce, HCl can reduce KMnO4 and HF can reduce. So here 4 options are given, that is H2SO4, KMnO4, K2Cr2O7 and 4th is none of these. So the answer for this question number 6 is option number D, because in HF fluorine is the most electronegative element and therefore it does not lose electron and therefore it cannot reduce H2SO4, KMnO4 and K2Cr2O7. So for question number 6, option number D is correct. Next question is, chlorine acts as bleaching agent only in the presence of, and for this option number B is correct, that is moisture. In presence of moisture, chlorine acts as a bleaching agent because it will form HCl plus nascent oxygen, and this nascent oxygen is responsible for bleaching action. That is, if we treat Cl2 with water, the reaction is HCl plus nascent oxygen, and this oxygen is responsible for the bleaching action. Next question number 8 is, bromine can be liberated from KBr solution by the action of, and the answer is option number B, that is chlorine water. And here is the reaction, KBr plus Cl2. Here we are getting KCl plus Br2. So by treating with chlorine water, we are getting bromine. So for question number 8, option number B is correct. Next question is, 9th, which of the following species is not a pseudo-halide ion? And here 4 options are given. Out of these, option number B is correct. Now what is pseudo-halide ion? Pseudo-halide ions are those which consist of 2 or more electronegative atoms, of which at least one is nitrogen, and have properties similar to that of halide ions. So out of these 4, RCO negative, it is not a pseudo-halide ion. Now question number 10th is, identify the order of decreasing acidic strength. First is ClOH, BrOH and IOH. So The correct order is option number A. First structure has highest acidic strength, after that second, and the least is for third. When we move from structure number 1 to structure number 3, electronegativity decreases, and that is why it is easy to cleave the bond between O and H in case of ClOH, and that is why the acidic strength of ClOH is greatest in these three structures. So for question number 10, option number A is correct. Question number 11 is, which of the following regarding oxides of chlorine are true? So here 4 statements are given. Out of these 4 statements, statement number A, B and C are correct, and statement number 4 is incorrect. So the answer for question number 11th is A, B and C. Next is exercise C. Question number 1 is, why xenon does not form fluorides of XeF, XeF3 or XeF5? And the answer for this question is, in xenon all the orbitals have paired electron, and if we promote 1, 2 or 3 electrons from the 5p filled orbital to the 5d vacant orbital, so it will give rise to 2, 4 and 6 half filled orbitals respectively. Suppose if we excite 1 electron from xenon from 5p filled orbital to 5d vacant orbital, so that will give 2 unpaired electron, and that is why it can form XeF2, not XeF. Therefore Xe can combine with even but not odd number of fluorine atoms, and that is why xenon does not form XeF, XeF3 and XeF5. After that, one paragraph is given, and here are questions from paragraph number, that is questions are given from paragraph question number 2 to 5. So first is question number 2, argon is used in arc welding because of its, the option is low reactivity with metal, because noble gases are least reactive, and therefore due to its low reactivity with metal it is used in arc welding. So for question number 2, option number A is correct. Next question is, the structure of XeO3 is, and the answer is pyramidal. So xenon, it has 8 electrons in its outermost orbital, and therefore out of those 8 electrons 6 will form bond with 3 oxygen, and here we are left with 1 lone pair of electron. So when we have 1 lone pair of electron and 3 bond pair, the shape is, or the structure is pyramidal. So question number 3, option number C is correct. Question number 4 is, XeF4 and XeF6, that is xenon tetrafluoride and xenon hexafluoride, are expected to be, so here 4 options are given, and out of these 4 options, first option is correct, that these two fluorides are oxidizing in nature, and this can be shown by the chemical reaction. Here xenon tetrafluoride, it is, that is it oxidizes from I negative to I2, and similarly we can explain the oxidizing nature of xenon hexafluoride. So for question number 4, option number A is correct. Next question is, which of the following fluorides produced O2 on hydrolysis? So here 4 options are given, and out of these 4 options, option number A and B is correct. That is xenon difluoride and xenon tetrafluoride on hydrolysis gives oxygen gas. So for question number 5, option number A and B are correct. So now next we have objective worksheet. Question number 1 is, a considerable part of the harmful UV rays of the sun does not reach the surface of the earth. This is because high above the earth atmosphere there is a layer of, and for question number 1, 4 options are given. Out of these 4 options, option number A is correct, that is above the earth atmosphere we have a layer of ozone, and that is why UV rays of the sun does not reach the surface of the earth. So for question number 1, option number A is correct. Next is, the oxide that gives hydrogen peroxide on treatment with a dilute acid is, and the answer is B, option number B, that is sodium peroxide. Question number 3 is, ozone is used for purifying water because, so here 4 options are given, and option number D is the correct answer for question number 3. Now next is, the dipole moment of H2O2 is more than that of H2O, but H2O2 is not good solvent because This H2O2, it dissociates easily and act as an oxidizing agent in chemical reaction. So for question number 4th, option number D is correct. From question number 5th to 7th, two statements are given and you have to answer according to the instructions given below. So for question number 5th, the answer is B. For question number 6th, the answer is A. And for question number 7th, the answer is B. So these are the answers for question number 5th to 7th. Question number 8 is match the following. So here we have compounds and here are the tests given. So first is O3. So the correct match for O3, that is for A, is P, starch iodide paper. Second is for H2O2. So for H2O2, Q and R, both are correct answers for B. For SO2, action on K2Cr2O7. That is for the detection of SO2, the test which is used is action on K2Cr2O7. This SO2, it will change the orange color of K2Cr2O7 to green. And fourth is iodine. So for D, P option, P is the correct match for D. So here are the answers for these. For A, P, B, Q and R. For C it is R and for D it is P. Now next is again match the following. Here reactions are given and here products are given. So first is Na2SO3 plus sulfur, sodium sulfite with sulfur. So the answer is for A it is Q. So when we do this reaction Na2SO3 plus sulfur, here we are getting sodium thiosulfate. Now next is sulfur in presence of NaOH and NaOH is in excess. So here two options are correct, that is P and R. Third is for Na2SO3, option number C, that is for C, option number S is correct match for this. And for D, Na2S, sodium sulfide plus oxygen. So the correct match for D is Q. So these are the answer for this, for these reactions. So next is again match the column. Here we are given with xenon hexafluoride, xenon tetrafluoride, xenon difluoride. And in the second column preparation is given. So first preparation, that is XeF6. It is prepared by treating xenon and fluorine in 1:20 ratio. So for A, S is correct. For B, R is correct. And for C, P is correct. So these are the correct match for these A, B and C. That is for A it is S, for B it is R and for C it is P. Next question is again match the following. Here compounds are given and on second column geometries are given. So first is XeF4. The geometry is square planar. So the correct match for A is S. Next is for XeO2F2. The correct geometry is trigonal bipyramidal, that is Q. Third is XeOF4 and the correct geometry for XeOF4 is square pyramidal, that is for C. R is the correct match. Now D is XeO3F2. Again the geometry is trigonal bipyramidal. And the last is XeO4 and the correct geometry for this E compound is tetrahedral. So these are the correct match for question number 11. So these are the answers for the questions which are given in assignment number 2. If you have any doubt, you can ask in comment box. Thank you. Please like and subscribe this channel.